Hi, we're Rob and Gemma, and we have a new podcast out on the Secret Recordings Network.
We, somewhat surprisingly, found out we were pregnant during lockdown, so we started Lockdown Knocked Up.
It's the new parenting podcast for parents who feel like they don't have a clue what they're doing.
And it sounds like this. And when we met each other, I was doing the Capital Breakfast Show in the West Midlands, and Gemma came and was new and did the Heart Breakfast Show in the West Midlands. So we were actually rivals.
And I think at the time you thought you were there smashing it, and then I came along, gave you a run for your money.
And then I was smashing
and you
something
thought,
else.
She's a genius. Rob. That is so uncouth. That is absolutely, I can't believe you've just said that. Also, smashing is giving yourself a lot of credit. Just saying. Because we're lockdown, knocked up. Oh, baby, we got lockdown, knocked up. Lockdown, knocked up. Out now, wherever you get your podcasts.
My name's Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on Earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. And when I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So if you too are goofy for goofy, well, this is the podcast for you. Or maybe you're the Disney novice just thinking about or planning your first ever trip to Walt Disney World and you thought the Grand Floridian was the latest family car from Chrysler. Well, then this definitely is the podcast for you. Each week, I'll catch up with other Disney superfans from around the UK to share stories of their magical times. And this week, we've got a great story from Tamsin.
And the staff in that restaurant said, "Oh, we quite like you guys. You've been nice. Come with us." And they opened a door.
We'll find out what was behind that door and more of our Disney stories very soon. Also catching up with some of your Walt Disney World questions and some more top tips. Everything you need to know to have the most magical time at the most magical place on Earth. And make sure you keep in touch with us as well on the socials, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We are at PodMagical. This is the most magical podcast on Earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network. Thank you so much for your comments about our last podcast with Gary. A lot of lovely new listeners. Thank you for your positive comments. Don't forget, if you are new, we've got loads of podcasts to catch up on. Make sure you subscribe. If you could give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts as well, that'd be brilliant because that just helps people find it. And of course, tell your friends and make sure you're following the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical. Same place to go if you've got any planning questions or anything you just want to know. I'll do my best to answer it on the podcast every episode. A few that have come through and we can go through right now, including this one from Ellie who says, have you got any advice for first timers? Well, my immediate advice right now will be for first timers, don't go yet. Don't go until you know that everything is going to be back up and running, because you want to see the fireworks, you want to see the parades, you want to see all the shows, you want to get 100% out of your holiday. And when it comes to actually going, make sure you've got a plan. If fast passes are back, make sure you know which ones to get, and we can tell you that on the podcast when fast passes do come back. But yeah, don't go yet if you've never been before. If you are a first time, when you finally do go for the first time, make sure you've got a plan and stick to it, because otherwise you'll be walking around with no fast passes going, well, this is rubbish, I can't get on anything. Also as well, similarly, I got a question from Ewan. It says, what about a honeymoon at Walt Disney World? Any advice on stuff we can do that makes it different? Dessert parties are always great. If you could do that, obviously get the pin badge to say that you're celebrating your honeymoon. Make sure everybody knows from check-in, especially if you're staying at Walt Disney World. Just make the most of it. And as well, you can always hire a photo pass photographer. I think it's for about half an hour at a time. So if you want like your own photographer at Magic Kingdom for half an hour, get some really good shots. Get the cute Mickey and Minnie bride and groom hats, or bride and bride, or groom and groom, whatever. And just make the most of it. So dessert parties, let everybody know, and maybe get some special photographs. Of course, if you've got any questions, send them over. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical. And if you want to be a podcast guest, you love talking about Walt Disney World, well, you've come to the right place. Give me a shout, we'll get you on. That's what Tamsin did, and she is on this episode of the podcast. So tell us, first question, why do you love Walt Disney World so much?
The escapism. I think really it's like the ability to take yourself away from reality for a little while and just submerge yourself into just pure magic and forget everything else, I think.
And when was the last time you went?
Last time I went was 2015. Went with my mum, my dad and our best family friends who were also just as obsessed. And we did a sort of group trip, and it was easily one of the best 2 weeks ever of my life. We packed in so much.
And why has it been like over 5 years since you went? Obviously, with what happened in 2020, we know that.
Yes.
We know you didn't go last year. So why the 5 year gap?
So in 2016, I became pregnant with my daughter, And she came along in 2017. So 2017, 2018, I've just done Disneyland Paris, just as small trips, just to get myself away, just with my mum and our friends. And we were meant to be going in 2020, and that was obviously cancelled a couple of times. So it's just been the way it's been. So hopefully we will get there this year, if not next year.
So your daughter's not had the Disney experience yet anyway?
Oh, no, but we've been trying to give her as much of it as we can at home. And when everything was cancelled, I mimicked up a letter from all of the cast and all the characters, and I basically traced different autographs around and made it signed from all of them and said, you know, we'll see you real soon. And it was signed from Mickey saying, we can't see you now, but we'll see you when we can. So just trying to keep the magic going as much as I can.
Let's hope she doesn't go for her 18th for the first trip.
Oh,
Let's not celebrate.
I can't. That she has to go.
Yeah, you mean you have to go is what you're actually saying. So let's talk about that first trip. When was the first trip, do you say?
The first trip was in 1995.
Whoa!
I was 5 years old. I remember it absolutely vividly. I remember the smell of the hotel. We stayed at All Star Music Resort. I loved it. I learnt to swim without my armbands in the piano pool. So that was really quite a special thing. And I remember it so vividly. It was incredible. It was such a magical trip, and it started everything for me.
Would you guess how many times you've been since then?
I've been to Florida 3 times, so not as many as I would like. But in between that, we try to do Disneyland Paris every single year just to try and getting a little bit of the magic.
Yeah. So was that a big family holiday, did you say, first time in the mid-90s? It
was with my mum, my dad and my brother, so just the 4 of us for that one.
Had any of them ever been before, or was it literally first big family holiday?
No, they'd all been before. My dad has been going to Disney since he was young. He actually grew up in America at one point, so he'd been on holidays to Florida, and he'd been to Anaheim as well. And my mum, I think she'd been a good couple of times before as well. So I think it was always going to be a thing that I was growing up into a Disney family, and it was going to happen.
Yeah, and now it's become a family tradition. As soon as you can go with your family, it carries on.
And we'll just carry on bringing new members into the group.
Have you got a favourite memory of all the times that you've been? Is there one standout moment?
I've probably got 2. I think there's both of them are quite similar, but they're still very unique. One of them is my best friend and I, who I went with in 2015. We were just sort of hanging around on Main Street, kind of near Casey's Corner, milling about trying to work out where we should stand for the Wishes fireworks display. And a cast member came over to us and said, can I help you? And we just said, we're just standing here, just enjoying the view and trying to work out where we're going to go. And she said, "I'll come with me." And just out of the blue, she put us into the VIP area, like slap bang in the middle of the castle, with the best view you could ever have, for no reason other than she just did. And it was just one of the most overwhelming experiences to watch that, just in this special area. We lots of tears were had.
Yeah, it's just that little bit of magic, isn't it? That didn't cost them anything, and you've remembered it forever.
I know. And similarly, the other one was when we were having dinner at the Spice Road table at Morocco in Epcot. And we were just finishing having our dinner, and we were thinking, oh gosh, where are we going to go? We need to go out and find somewhere for illuminations. And the staff in that restaurant said, "Oh, we quite like you guys. You've been nice. Come with us." And they opened a door and they let us out the back onto this jetty on the water, which was at the side of the restaurant. And we got like a private balcony to watch illuminations from.
What?
It was just incredible.
Next time you go, I'm coming with you.
Yeah, I know.
You're the person I want to hang around with you.
We were obviously hit by the lucky stick for that trip, because loads of things like that happen, but that was really special just because, to have no one standing in front of you. It's really, really special.
But it pays to be nice, doesn't it? It just shows you nice things happen to nice people.
Yeah.
And the cast members appreciate that.
Definitely.
They appreciate your niceness, and you get rewarded for it.
Well, exactly. You may as well just be nice and happy, and people do tend to do nice things, don't they? So it was an amazing experience. We've never, I don't think we will ever forget it.
Just saying that though, I kind of miss finding my spot in the fireworks. You know, just that, like, half an hour before going, all right, we'll stand here. And then, like, a minute before it starts, somebody stands in front of you and lifts up a kid on the shoulders. I actually miss that.
The battle to find the best view where you can position your camera. And
I miss all that. I'll bring it all back. Let's take a little break for the news, and then we'll be back with some more Disney memories from Tamsin. And the latest news from Walt Disney World since our last podcast. Well, there's a new president, which means the Hall of Presidents at Magic Kingdom is currently closed for a refurb while they get ready to install Joe Biden. There was a rumour, this is only a rumour, we don't really do rumours on this podcast, but there was a rumour that the Muppets could be taking over the Hall of Presidents. Please insert your own joke about Donald Trump there, but obviously that's just a rumour at the moment. One confirmed attraction to have a bit of a makeover is the Jungle Cruise. It's not a makeover that's going to reflect the new film starring The Rock. It's just a kind of a bit of an update to bring it more culturally up to date. So there'll be some new characters, there'll be some new storylines, and there'll be some new cheesy gags. So look out for that, which I'm hoping it is going to be ready for the 50th birthday celebration later this year. Meanwhile, over at Epcot, the Soul of Jazz has opened at the American Adventure, which is a great new exhibit celebrating jazz and black music culture in America. There's also some live performances over at the American Pavilion as well. And over at Disney Springs, the new M&M store has opened. Don't forget, our socials will keep you updated with any news that breaks. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pod Magical. And that's where you go if you fancy being a podcast guest, one episode, like Tamsin has done. So let's get to it now. Favourite attraction, go.
I mean, out of rides, I would say that probably it's a toss-up between Big Thunder Mountain or Tower of Terror, because we do like a bit of an adrenaline rush. And I think from those ones, we're always guaranteed to just laugh and smile the whole way. And the photos are always brilliant. Just love them. But in terms of like shows and stuff, I mean, it's so difficult to choose, isn't it? But I will always have a bit of love for Illumination. So I am sad that's gone. But Fantasmic will always have a piece of my heart as a show. I just think that's just so fun. It's just wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of my favourite first night things to do. Is there anything that they no longer have at Disney World that's now been retired that you really miss?
It's a parade. If any of the Disney OGs might remember Spectro Magic Parade.
Nighttime.
Yeah, that parade. My mum will also say that was probably one of her most magical moments. But I think that watching them all go around with all of the lights on and the music, it was just wonderful. And I think even now sometimes we'll just put it on YouTube just because we love it that much.
Yeah, I do that the same.
It was a wonderful parade. Really, really enjoyed that one.
And maybe a nighttime parade back for the 50th later on this year.
Fingers crossed, because I just think they're so wonderful when you're, it's near the end of the day, or you're trying to decide what to do next, and then the parade cuts through, and it's just when you just hear it and see all the lights in the distance, it's just so magical.
Now, you say you're an adrenaline junkie. Do you
Yes.
like to venture outside the Walt Disney World bubble? Do you go over to SeaWorld, Universal?
Occasionally. We don't do SeaWorld, just because we don't. We do like Universal. We didn't go on the last trip. We tend to sort of decide what we're going to do before we're going to go and where we're going to commit to. I know a lot of people sometimes still do every other trip, or but no, we didn't do it last. But no, really, really enjoy Universal. I think it's a great place to go.
What's your favourite attraction at Universal? I've never asked this before because we don't usually delve too deep into Universal. But
I like all the old rides, which just give you memories. Like E.T. and Jaws and stuff like that. They just make me feel like I'm living a part of my childhood, and stuff like that. I absolutely love that. But
I miss Jaws as well. Yeah,
Jaws. It was just such a classic. You can't go wrong with Jaws.
Let's talk about some of your other favourite Disney things.
Yes.
Then you mentioned you've been a few times. You say it was All Stars you stayed at the first time.
That was the first one we ever stayed at, and I remember it so well. I can smell it. I can see it. Like, it's just so clear in my mind.
Where else have you stayed?
We've done on-site and off-site. We've done a couple of hotels where we've just been along sort of International Drive, or sort of the Buena Vista area right by what used to be Downtown Disney, and obviously now Disney Springs.
Yeah.
But the last time we went, I actually stayed at Old Key West, which was brilliant. I just thought that was one of the best resorts ever. It was such a sense of space. That's what you get with the Old Key West resort. It's just your living areas are a lot bigger. So if you go in a big group or you want just a little bit more room in terms of like the kitchen and a living area, that was just fantastic, because we had some really nice games nights and things like that, which was lovely part, a lovely side to it that we didn't experience before, I suppose.
Did you have a car when you stayed there? Because is that a little bit just far out from the parks, or were you okay with the Disney transport?
Yes, car. It's always good to have a car, I think, just because it does help you get around, and especially if you want to go off to, somewhere else or a little bit further away. And my dad likes to visit Gatorland occasionally.
All right.
I think a car definitely helps. However, staying on site, I think, is always just so much better, purely because of the perks of the transport. You can get away with not having a car because the transport is so good.
Yeah, but I suppose it's there then if you want it. If you've got a car, we'll use it. But if we'll go to Magic Kingdom, it's easy just to hop on the bus.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the majority, there's only a couple of times that we would ever sort of go and park in the car if you were going on somewhere else afterwards. But I mean, like we say, the buses are so good. There's no excuse not to use them, really.
And when it comes to eating at Walt Disney World, you've got particular favourite restaurants?
Oh, where can you choose? There's just so many. I think for me, one of my favourites that I just holds a lot of good memories for me is Sci-Fi Diner. It's one of those ones that we always do for lunch, because it's a nice stop off in the middle of the day, get yourself out the heat and you can, sit down and, again, immerse yourself in a completely different experience than you would ever have outside. And just, I can taste those milkshakes now. They're out of this world.
Do you actually like the food at Sci-Fi Dining?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go, I like it, but the food's a bit greasy.
No, see we've had good meals at Sci-Fi Diner, so I can only comment on what we've had, but yes, I think sometimes you don't need to have too much there. We literally just have, good old burger. I love the just the blue burger, I think it is, and always with the Oreo milkshake, and that's us done and dusted. It gives us fuel, and then we're back out in the park again. So, and
don't forget, if you're going to Sci-Fi Diner, make sure you've got a light on your phone. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the menus. It's
absolutely
so dark.
I know, especially when you're taking those photos, because otherwise you just get silhouettes of people sitting around eating their food.
Do you do character dining when you go?
Yes, we have done character dining. We've done some really nice character dining as well. Last time, I'm trying to think if we did character dining last time I went. I can't actually think if we did or not, but I love character dining just because it doesn't matter how old you are. You're always so excited when they come over to your table.
Yeah, you got to come in. We can't get up next. If it's the buffet, we can't get up yet because Winnie the Pooh's on the next table.
Exactly. And you're never too old to have an autograph book or a photo taken with a character.
Now, when it comes to planning, what's your usual strategy? Because can we say that you're a travel agent?
Yeah, I'm a qualified travel agent, yes.
You're a travel agent, so you know when it comes to planning, when to book in the good deals, when to book, when to go. What would your tips be?
I mean, for me, I love a plan. I'm not one of these people that wants to go and just wing it or just go, we'll just see what happens every day. I think the best thing you can ever do is try and plan around what you can pre-book. So obviously, as soon as you can pre-book your fast passes, your restaurant bookings, all of that sort of stuff, that way you can start mapping out your day. It's also sometimes good to work out where the rides are, how close you are to the rides, because then you can work out how long it would take you to walk from one to the other, and then you're trying to get good value for money and for time. I'm very fortunate that one of our family friends, Neil, he is just as obsessed as I am, and the last time we went, he put together this plan. It was like a military operation, but it worked to the minute, and it was brilliant. We've never packed in as much as having that plan, as in what ride we were doing step by step when we were breaking for lunch. From that, you can then leave in your days for your shopping or your pool days to make sure you have those breaks. But it definitely helps, because then you're ticking off the things you want to do, and the best of all the experiences, and that's obviously why we want to go.
We need to get Neil on the podcast.
You do.
He sounds like he's got the winning formula.
You do need to get Neil on the podcast. He would be so thrilled.
Well, we'll get him on. When it comes to booking, do you book as a package, or do you think flights and hotels separately, booking through different people? How would you book it?
Disney actually do some very good deals if you go through them directly. They do throw out some good deals. So I think it's always a good idea to check what Disney are doing, just because they do. Sometimes if you go on the website, Disney will throw out sort of like the middle plans. So the offer they give you has a lot of added extras. You can break that down to make it more budget friendly if you only want to do something a little bit more basic. Okay. I think actually Disney do give you a very good mixture of everything. However, that being said, sometimes it is so good to book separately, book your flight separately, book your accommodation separately, and when you add that together, quite often it is cheaper than the Disney package. Obviously, you won't get some of the perks if you don't book through Disney, but it depends what your priorities are, I guess, whether you want the dining or whether you want the ability to use the transport. It just depends. It really depends what your budget and what your needs are, I guess. But always worth checking through Disney directly, because they are the keepers of the keys, and they have all the goods. So yeah, always worth talking to them first.
The keys to the kingdom.
Exactly.
Is there anything you don't like about Walt Disney World? We can say this, being friends.
Leaving?
Yeah, going home.
I guess for me, I can say this as a parent, it is a bit frustrating when people do put their children on shoulders. Mm-hmm. We don't do this with our daughter, just because for me, I think the minute you put someone's children on shoulders, you're instantly saying that everyone else behind you, they're not important.
Yeah.
And everyone is important. If we didn't have the people coming into Disney, it wouldn't be what it is, So that's what makes the atmosphere. So I think the annoying people that put children on shoulders, I understand why you do it. But at the same time, it's not so great for the other people. And I think it's always good to have a thought about everyone else standing around you and making sure that they're getting the same experience that you would want to have.
Definitely going with you next time. Yeah, I'll stand behind you, because I know you won't put a kid on a shoulder.
Yeah.
When do you think your next trip is going to be then?
We are hoping for this year. We were meant to be going this year because we've got a couple of big birthdays this year coming up. So ideally we want to go this year. Obviously, we are currently playing it by ear for obvious reasons. Fingers crossed we can at some point. If not, then definitely next year, just because otherwise it will have been too long without a trip. And we all need the magic in our lives, don't we?
Yeah. And your baby girl's going to go for the first time.
Yeah.
Lovely chatting to you, Tamsin.
And to you. Thank you so much.
And have a magical day.
And to you too.
And if you'd like to join me one episode for a Walt Disney World chat, then let me know. Just give me a shout on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, Podmagical. As I say, doesn't matter the last time you went or how many times you've been and you just love talking about Walt Disney World, this is the place to do it. Just give me a shout. We'll get you on the podcast. Every episode, we always like to end with a top tip. This week's top tip is save stuff for next time. Now, that's easier said than done at the moment, because we've not been for a year, most likely at least. So how about making a list of the stuff you've actually never done? Last time I went to Walt Disney World, we were there for 2 weeks, and we had a challenge that every day we had to do something that we had never done before. So this is a good time now to fill that gap between now and your next Walt Disney World holiday. If you're frustrated that you can't go, make a list of the stuff that you've never done. Go through My Disney Experience, get the park maps out, have a look. Have you never been onto Tom Sawyer Island? Have you never done Crazy Golf? Are there any resorts that you've never been to? Any restaurants you've never dined at? Any of those really famous snacks that you've never had? Maybe you've never had a turkey leg. They're disappointing. But make a list of all the stuff you've never done at Walt Disney World, no matter how big or how small, and see if you can put an itinerary together where every day you can do something that you've never done before. Keeps the magic alive, keeps it fresh, keeps it new for next time you go. And of course, if you are going, give me a shout. Let me know what your countdown is to your next Walt Disney World holiday. Our countdown to our next podcast is 2 weeks. Don't forget, every other Friday we've got a brand new podcast. And on our next episode, we'll be talking to Sophie all about this place.
It is just a Disney paradise.
And if you'd like to be on a future podcast, or if you've got any top tips of your own you'd like to share, then do let me know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Podmagical. And if you could give us a 5-star review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, that would be brilliant, because that helps people find their Walt Disney World magic. Just give us that 5-star review. Make sure you hit like and subscribe as well, so you don't miss the next podcast, which will be here very soon. And until then, please stand clear of the doors.